Welcome back, Jean-Paul. Let's talk about how Canadians are investing because certainly the do-it-yourself space has grown exponentially, but we know that the role of good holistic advice is also very important.
Yes.
Yeah. So, are you seeing lots of people trying to invest on their own, and I think more importantly, any indication on how they're doing or any insights?
It's a great question. We have definitely been seeing a trend in terms of the number of Canadians who are trading on their own through online accounts. I think some of it is just the relative ease of doing that in today's world with today's technology. About 40%, based on the survey, indicate that they do trade online, but only about 20% are full-fledged do-it-yourself investors. That is, they do not seek advice from an advisor. They self-manage their investments. So it's important to kind of differentiate between those that may be what I call a hybrid investor, where they do some trading online, but they also work with an advisor, and those investors that are truly independent and do it all themselves.
Yeah, look like half of those investors also have an online trading account. Is it typically skewed towards younger people who do it yourself?
It seems to be that way. Certainly, the ones who are have online trading accounts, I think it does skew towards the younger investors. I think that's part and parcel of just having grown up with this new
Yeah.
technology and interacting with the world through their smartphones.
Advisors, right? It looks like a lot of people are still dependent on the advice that they receive from advisors. But Jean Paul, that really does underscore the importance of raising the bar for financial advisors, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not only the number of people that use an advisor, which I think is upwards of 70%, but it's the fact that those that do work with an advisor overwhelmingly rely on the advice they're given. And I think that really puts a premium on ensuring that that advice is good quality advice. It also raises other issues. For example, not all advisors can give you advice on a different range of products. They're limited to only advise you in respect of one type of investment product. So it really begs the question as to whether the consumer, the Main Street investor, is aware of those limitations.
Well, I know at least from my experience, a lot of investors don't know the difference, right? They'll go to the bank and say, well, my advisor put me in this, and they don't really understand what fiduciary duty is, um, and what the advisor is really capable of doing and offering. We have made some progress on that front, though, haven't we?
We are making some progress. So regulators have tried to raise the standards through a series of rule changes called the client-focused reforms. But there's still a fundamental problem in that most investors, Main Street investors, will walk into a bank, for example, and they believe they're dealing with somebody who's giving them broad range or comprehensive financial advice, when in fact they're not. They're dealing with somebody who is only licensed to sell them a mutual fund product, and usually the bank's own mutual fund product. And I think that's a real area for concern because most investors do not understand who they're dealing with and the range of products and services that that person can actually offer them.
Speaking of concerns, I was looking at the survey and it says 72% trust the integrity of their advisor, but 44% worry about being taken advantage of. How do you reconcile this?
Yes, it's a really interesting result, and I think that that for us that's why the relationship is an uneasy one. There seems to be some trust, but also some mistrust. I think the level of trust is probably because there is a personal relationship there. So investors are dealing with somebody on, we hope, on a fairly regular basis and get to know them. And I think, knowledge and familiarity breeds trust. When you look at levels of trust, for example, do they trust governments? It's far lower. And I think partly because if you're not familiar with somebody, it's hard to say you trust them.